Hi guys, it's Angie. I look totally naked, don't I? I just noticed that. Actually, I'm not. I'm wearing, oh, you can't see. Anyway, I'm wearing a sleeveless dress, like a summer dress. And I have not wore a dress like this in a long time, and I feel really self-conscious. But I'm gonna try to not feel self-conscious and just feel fierce. We'll see. I am headed to my friend Charlotte's house. We are going out on the town, which for us, out on the town is, we'll go to Panera and we'll have lunch. So I'm meeting her at 11. And then after lunch, we'll go shopping. There's this like little shopping area called Zona Rosa that's kind of like an outdoor, like, not a mall, but you know how they have those outdoor places where there's just a whole bunch of different shops. We go there and look around. There's not a whole lot of places we go to there because it seems like lately the shops that have been opening up are more geared towards a younger crowd, you know, not women in their 40s and 50s like the two of us. But there's other places like, you know, Bath and Body Works and Sephora, and there are some, oh, there's a Marshall's and just different places like that. So we go shopping around in there. Sometimes we'll go shop into some other different places, and then usually we'll go have dinner somewhere and go to Starbucks and then go back to her house and just sit and talk and talk and talk and talk. Because my friend, she's my best friend, we met at work, gosh, probably 1989. I think I met her in 88. No, not, no, 89, yeah. And they're doing these people are doing a car wash for charity, and they're trying to get people to go in. Some of them are acting really silly. But anyway, we became fast friends and eventually became best friends. But the problem is, we used to work together. She got laid off several years ago, probably, gosh, I want to say it might be close to 10 years by now. But we've remained friends. But we don't live close together. She lives even past where I work. So, and you're going to think I am a dork, because I am a dork, but I have a confession to make. I'm horrible with directions. Absolutely horrible. And we used to always just meet at the building where we work, and I would just leave my car there, and then she drives from there, because since she lives out there, and I'm already driving so many miles just to meet up with her, she would drive while we were up there. And for years, we just met at the building, and I just would park my car there because I felt like it was safe there. And sometimes we just sit in the car and talk and stuff, but then security would come out to see what we were doing in the parking lot, so I'd always have to show my work ID and just tell them, you know, I felt like it was a safe place because, look, here's security. But I started feeling kind of weird doing that, especially since she stopped working there. And so then I started driving to her house. And you'd think, you know, your best friend, you'd know how to get to her house. But I get a little confused. I can get almost all the way there, and then I get a little bit confused on the streets where she lives. And so I always, even though I really do think I can get there, I always have my GPS going because, I don't know, I'm just, one of my fears is getting lost, and I've always been horrible with directions. I mean, the first time when I started working for this company, we had to do like a drug test, and I got lost on the way to the testing place. I mean, I went way past it, and that was in the years before they had GPS, or, you know, even, I didn't even have a cell phone or anything. So and I've never been good with directions unless I drive somewhere a whole bunch of times. It's just a flaw, I guess. But I have this GPS. My mother-in-law bought my first one I ever had several years ago for me for Christmas, and it completely gave me my freedom, because I never used to go anywhere without my husband or my mother-in-law, or somebody that knew their way around, or I'd have to do like I'd call it a dry run, where my husband would drive me there and I would write down different landmarks and stuff. I've just always been really bad with directions, and I hope this thing's not shaking too much. I saw Margaret did a video and she talked about turning your iPhone sideways, and I always knew about that, but I didn't think I could do it in my car because I thought the holder only went up and down. Well, then I came out and just really started fiddling with it, and eventually figured out that you can do it sideways, so I'm trying that out for the first time today. And it's working, but it seems like it's a little bouncier, because the other way I had it, it kind of helped the phone rest a little bit on the dash. But hopefully maybe I'll get to a smoother road, I don't know. But we'll see. I'll just keep fiddling with it. I mean, if I had it down too low, then you couldn't see anything but like the roof. So, but anyway, I've got my GPS on, so you might hear it on the side, hear her talking. I have it set to the girl. I think her name is Jill. I think they're Jack and Jill is what they call them. So anyway, we're not wild women or anything. We don't go out to like the bars or the clubs or anything. I mean, I do like to dance, but I don't know, I don't really like that kind of atmosphere. I'm more of a laid back kind of, don't like the crowds. The last time we went, my husband and I went out like to a club was a couple of years ago, when his friend from Florida came in, and several of us couples went, and I felt so uncomfortable because, for one, there was a guy that he made me feel really uncomfortable because I was like dancing with the girls, and he would like come up and get on me, like be on me. And I told him, at first I thought it was my husband, and I turned around and it wasn't my husband. I mean, he was getting that close to me, and I told him, I had a few cuss words that rhyme with duck, if you know what I mean, to get the duck off of me. And so he backed up, but then later he comes up and offers to buy me a drink, and I told him, I'm here with my husband, and he's still, I don't know, he just really made me nervous, and I didn't want to say anything to my husband because I didn't want him to do anything stupid, because he'd want to defend my honor or whatever, and I didn't want to start anything. I just wanted to have everything be fine. And so, I ended up telling the guy I was going to go tell security if he didn't get the hell away from me. What a loser. But I just felt really uncomfortable, and then it was really hot, and I'm just not real big in the crowds. I mean, it's one thing to be at like a baseball game. I don't mind those crowds because everybody's in their assigned seats, and and even a concert, I love concerts, when they have seats and everything, but the kind that have like those pits where everybody's just all gathered together, I don't like that. And we have, a few years ago, in Kansas City, they have a place called the Country Club Plaza, and they have, right after, I think it's Thanksgiving night, they light the lights down there, and it's a really big deal, and a lot of people go down there. And a few years ago I went down there just with a friend, and that's what everybody did. Everybody was like gathered in this big crowd in the streets, and I felt like I was going to hyperventilate. I just couldn't stand to be around that many people. It just felt suffocating to me. And I don't know. I mean, you hear about people getting trampled and stuff, so I guess I'm probably not overreacting, but I don't like that where everybody's like pressing against you, and I want my space, I don't know. So, but anyway, I'm driving to Charlotte's house. Isn't that a pretty name? I love those names that are kind of old-fashioned. Just really pretty. But she's just been a really great friend for me, and I feel like I've been there for her too. We've both been through some bumps in life. I mean, she's had some really bad ones that I won't tell you about, obviously, you know, that's her privacy. But, you know, and I've been through some bumps in my life, and she's always been there for me, and she's not judgmental. And one thing that I like about her is she and I, you know, sometimes women can be competitive, and I've never really felt that way. I never really wanted to compete with, even when I was a teenager, and that's like a big teenager thing. My friends, I always wanted the best for them, you know, and I would hope that they would want that for me, and I feel like that's the way she is. I mean, she honestly will tell me, if I ask her, you know, about my appearance or whatever, she'll be honest, you know, and I'm like that with her too. I mean, I don't remember if I told you guys, but I remember one time she got her hair cut so short, and she was like, Ange, tell me the truth, what do you think about my hair? And I told her, I says, well, instead of being out on a girls' night, I feel like I'm on a date. You know, her hair was so short, because she always has wore her hair shorter. And I mean, it's so funny that we're such good friends, because we're really pretty different in a lot of ways. You know, she never watches television, ever. She didn't even have a TV in her house for a long time, you know, until I don't ever know what to call people that you live with, but they're not like, you know, she's too old to be like, that's my boyfriend. You know what I mean? But, so anyway, until he moved in and brought a TV, she didn't even have one. You know, she's more towards reading the newspaper and stuff like that. Well, I like TV, and there's a lot of shows I watch and that I enjoy. And so, you know, it's not like we could sit around and talk about TV shows. And she loves like the fall and the early winter, and I like the fall, but I hate the winter. And I love summer and spring, and you know, I actually like the hot weather. It doesn't bother me. I mean, obviously it bothers me when it gets to be over 100 degrees, but that's when I'm most excited. You know, when she buys clothes, a lot of the time they're black, because she loves black, and that's like her favorite color in clothing, where I buy all different colors. I like it all, you know. But we have also a lot of other similarities, you know, and we think a lot alike. We have the same political views, you know, we have the same religious views, you know, a lot of stuff like that. I think she's not quite as, I'm not adventurous in everything, but some things I am, and she's not as adventurous, but she's learning from me and I'm learning from her. But I wish, she's one of those people that if we lived closer together, we would be going to have coffee, we would grocery shop together, you know, a lot of that stuff. And I don't know, I do wish I had that. So we only get to see each other about every other month, and sometimes less than that, it just depends. And it's not like, you know, we're hundreds of miles away from each other, but, you know, it can be a while to drive there. Luckily, we meet usually on the weekends, so I don't have to run into the traffic and stuff. And that's actually one benefit of, now that I keep trying to hold this holder when I see it bouncing, that's one of the benefits of, I haven't even told her yet that they changed the rules on me and that I have to come down to the bank 4 days a week. And so, and I don't work I work for a bank, but it's not like in a banking center, it's like in a back office area. And I'll tell you about that. But anyway, I'm on my way to see my friend, and I lost track of what I was talking. Oh, when I tell her I'm down there 4 days a week now, maybe, and she works downtown, maybe we can actually meet up on the weeknights here and there. You know, that could be a benefit. But I don't remember if I ever told you guys, but I work for a bank, and for a long time now I've worked in this area called unclaimed property. And what that is I don't know if you've heard on the news, like where they'll talk about, you know, the state of Missouri or wherever, has unclaimed property, check to see if it's yours, that kind of stuff. Or some places they even advertise in the newspaper. New York, Delaware, New Jersey, I think, they all advertise in the paper. Well, what we do is we're responsible, and what they call that when you have to take this property, and it's like checking accounts, savings accounts, CDs, IRAs even, cashier's checks, safe deposit box contents, you name it. The states require not only banks, but credit unions, utility companies, a lot of insurance companies, a lot of different things. The states require you to send it to them if you haven't had contact with your customer for a certain period of time. It's different for all the different states and jurisdictions. So what my department does in the area I used to be the manager of is the section that actually sends all that to the states and keeps up with the current state laws and statutes, and because it's driven by your states, not the federal government or anything. It's actually state laws. So like, say for example, you have a checking account and you don't use it for, it ranges anywhere from 3 to 7 years depending on the state. Seems like more states are decreasing those time frames. But if your bank hasn't had any contact with you, and they can't get into contact with you, then they have to close your account and send it to the state. And then the state becomes the new owners of the account until you claim it from them. You can always claim it. So like when we close an account, we send the state all the information that was on the account. And what my bank does, the states require you to send one notice to customers trying to get a hold of them, but we do it twice. We do more than one, even though we're not required to, because we don't want to lose our customers. So, and then, another thing is, even if you have an account where you don't use that account, but you have another one, like say for example, you have a checking and a savings account, and you don't use your savings, but you're using your checking account a lot, we use that activity to update your other account, to show that yes, we have had contact with that person. There's a system that we can go into and it updates this field called date of last contact. And then, that is used so that, that'd be stupid if a company or a bank sent your savings account away when you're writing accounts on your checking account every single day or something. It'd be I think it would be negligent of the bank to do that. And utility companies, I think mostly are did I tell you they call that a sheetment, or to escheat an account? It's ESCHEAT, which I had never heard of until I started working in this department. But I've done that for going on, since '99 is when I started in that department. And I used to manage it, but now what I do is like I said before, they're going through an audit, so I'm helping pull documentation and getting into PDF and things like that. But then I also do some QCing. Since I have a lot of experience, I do a lot of QCing on the work that they do. And some of the work moved to India, so I do QC for India and stateside. And also, like the notices that I said we send to customers, when those come back in, they get scanned, and I do they're called exceptions, where the scanner doesn't recognize what it is, and so I have to go look up all the information and populate it, stuff like that. So I'm still in the unclaimed property world. I actually still keep up with the legislative updates. That's part of my job. Is monthly I have a meeting with everybody to let them know what's upcoming and what's changing, and we have like a legal area and a compliance area there, and they let us know things that they think will pass, because we know when something's in legislative session whether or not it's passed or not. For one thing, I'm not sharing trade secrets or anything, But like some of the states have decided that they want places to start escheating savings bonds, which is completely, those are federal documents. You know, they don't have any control over things that are federal. So like our legal team was like, you know, just ignore that. If they say that you have to do that, just ignore it, kind of thing. And we can't ignore it, and we can legally ignore it because they have no claim to federal savings bonds. But so I don't even know why the states are trying it. There's just 2 so far, but like our legal, and I'm sure a lot of other banks' legals have already gone to the, you know, the feds and told them, you know, you need to get with these states and tell them that they can't do that. But just stuff like that. It can be really confusing, some of the laws, because they're pretty, you know, how they get with laws. But so I would depend on legal and compliance and stuff. But so I'm in that world, but that's what I do. It's really pretty interesting. I feel bad for, like, if you have a safe deposit box, you better keep in contact with your bank, because some of the states actually will get the property and they'll auction it off, and then what they hold for you is the proceeds from the auction. But they'll even take stock and it gets transferred to the state, and they'll sell it. You know, I mean, some states, they just keep the property. They have, like, I don't know where they keep it, but they just keep the property, you know, the jewelry and the coins and all kinds of stuff. I mean, things that are just like papers, you know, maybe birth certificates or just all kinds of papers. They just destroy it because it has no value, no monetary value. And I think most states have like a period of time before they destroy this stuff. But, you know, then there's stuff, we call them auction states, but they'll have banks tell them what they have, and then they send the stuff, and then the states auction it off, and I don't know. You know, I can't I can't put my beliefs into it. Like, I don't think an IRA should ever be escheated. You know, that's somebody's retirement. And states don't make you escheat them. They don't make, we call it the clock, but the clock doesn't start ticking until after you're 70 and a half, you know. And if you're, so it's not like, it'd be like you would be past the time that you should be taking a distribution and you're not. So I think they're assuming you're dead or something. So I don't know. But I'm probably boring the hell out of you, aren't I? But anyway, that's what I do. I work with unclaimed property. But that's what that means. And it's not, the bank has no choice whatsoever. When they tell us we have to send stuff to them, we have to. You know, customers get really mad. You're stealing my money. We're not. We're following the law. And there are significant fines and penalties if you don't. And, you know, we get audited by states, so they make sure that you're doing everything right. And, you know, because I think their whole idea is to safeguard the property of the customers. Well, I don't know how safeguarding they are, because, I mean, you're no longer earning interest or anything. But, and then on the other hand, if you have passed away and your relatives didn't know you had accounts, and then they're searching your name on a state's website, they could see that you did have accounts and they got escheated, and then they can claim them. So, but we do try everything we can to not have to send, you know, like I said, we send our customers notices, we look for other accounts they might have. We try to find them, we try to get in contact with them, even if they get mad at us, because some of them do, because they don't understand. And I don't blame them. I didn't know anything about this stuff until I started working with it. And I didn't realize that, like, utility companies, you know, like if you have a credit balance, or even like, you remember back in the day, if you lost, and this would be for those of us old enough to remember, but if you went to a phone booth and you put your money in and it didn't give you your money, but you could call the operator and they'd send you a check. I remember that with my mom. I was a kid. She got a check for like $0.25. She never cashed it. You know, she just she just tore it up and threw it in the trash. She's like, I'm not going to cash a check for $0.25. Well, that got us sheeted. You know, that's what happens. They don't care if it's a penny. They want it. So I actually myself have money at the state of Missouri. I don't have any idea what it is. It's in my maiden name, so I'm thinking it must be from a utility company, because I've only banked at the same place that I bank right now, never any other bank, and it's always been my same accounts, so I know my accounts haven't been escheated. So all I can think about is it must have been a credit balance with one of the utility companies from when I lived in my apartment. It's like, it's either 18 or 13. I don't know. I could claim it. I think I'd probably have to provide them with a copy of my marriage certificate to show them my name changed. I don't know, but I just, you know, it's such a small dollar amount, I haven't really messed with it. But I should. I mean, that could buy me lunch for 2 or 3 days. But anyway, I try to make sure I keep these things below 30 minutes. I did weigh myself this morning, and I weigh exactly what I weighed 3 weeks ago. So I was able to repair the damage from 2 weekends of eating very unhealthy. But I still, dang it, I want to get down in the 140s. And today I'll be fine because Charlotte's a very healthy eater. Like I said, we'll go to Panera. We'll probably go to somewhere like Applebee's or 54th Street for lunch. Both places where I can find something healthy. So, I should be okay now. But, you know, if I wouldn't have been bad for 2 weekends in a row, I probably would be down in those 140s. But I'm still happy. So anyway, I guess I'll let you guys go. I just wanted to check in with you and say hi. And I still have a few more miles to go before I get to Charlotte's. But I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.